Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we'll masech this Makkot daf Chaf Aleph. We're going to begin on Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, basically in the middle of the Amud by the Mishnah. Says the Mastisa, Kosev Ksuvas Ka'aka. A person who writes basically is a tattoo on their flesh. Kosev lo ka'akeya kakev lo kosev enu chayv ad sheyichtav ka'akeh. It's not enough that you have to write, but you actually have to do some type of engraving into your skin in order to be chayiv. So that's the only time you be chayiv. And also has to be yadai, biyado, or it says on the side bidyai, with a permanent type of ink. Uvakoil could be blue. V'chol davar shehu roishim, has to be something that will have an imprint. Now Shimon Yehuda says Mishum Rab Shimon Oimer Enu chayiv ad sheyichtav shem shamas hashem. It's only until you mamish write Hashem's name on your skin as a tattoo. Shnemar ksuvas kakalu titnu b'chem ani Hashem. So why does it say ani Hashem? It's going to tell you that dafke, if you make that type of tattoo, but if you have a tattoo of an anchor or mama or whatever it is, then according to him you're not chayav. Amru says the Gemara. So Amru Rav Acha Berei the Rav Rav Ashi. So Ad Yichtav Ani Hashem Mamish. So what does that mean? According to him, you have to write the words Ad Ani Hashem. So Malay Lo Kedetani Bar Kapara Inu Chayv Ad Sheyichtav Shem Avodas Kachavim. If you write some type of idol worship, Shenever Ksuvas Kaka Lo Sidmachem Ani Hashem Lo Acher. So apparently this was a way of showing your allegiance. When a lot of people they make a tattoo of the person that they love, their significant other. And it's also shows your connection and your devotion to an idol, and that's what it's referring to. Amar Rav Malchia, Amar Rav Adabarava, also Adam Shitin Efer Mikla Al Gabi Makato. A person's now to put this special type of ashes of sorts onto your skin. And the reason is because it has the appearance of a tattoo. And again, the whole issurs, you have all these kids who make temporary tattoos, that certainly is not an issue. It's referring to dafka that it's something which is cut and it's inside the skin. And that's something in which, because you have a makkah and you end up putting this into it, so it ends up looking like a permanent type of a tattoo. Oimer Rav Nachman Berei Rav Ika, Shvud Shvachos V'Gumos Rav Malchiyoi, Blurious Efer Mikla V'Gvina Rav Malchia. So it could easily be confused. Therefore, it's worthwhile to link these two people with their famous expressions. That when it came to the dinim of a shvud, which has to do specifically with a spit, which is Masechtas Beya, Rashi says that a spit shitsolbo basar, that you roasted meat with, asul taltal. You're not allowed to move it around. Rather, you could put it in a corner. So that's what the shvut has to do with this shvut, this roasting on a spit. Shvachos is a Mishnah Masechtas Ksuvos. So Belezer said, quoting Rashi, "Afil hachniso lo meya." Even if you brought 100 maids into the marriage, nonetheless, you don't want her to do nothing because bittul zman can cause problems in a marriage. So therefore, you still want her to be able to do something. In gumos, literally means holes, which is a Masechtas nida. So it has to do with shtei saros, showing signs of physical purity. And let's say the hairs are not there and they're ripped out, but there's these cavities. So that also shows signs of physical maturity. So that's what it's referring to. Gumo isafopi she'en bo cyrus. So that could still show that person's again someone of the age of majority. So that those three statements of shvud, shvachos, and gumos is Rav Malchia. Blurious Efer Mikla and Gavina is Rav Malchia with an aleph. So blurious in Masechtas Avodah Zarah, we learned, the Gemara Rashi quotes, if you get a haircut, so you have to be careful not to have a haircut comparable to these people, which is, as Rashi says, shosh etzboi sechol ruach, having 3 fingers in all directions to resemble their hair of these people who were of ill repute. If Mikkel were already established in our Masechta about tattoos, v'gvina, and cheese, says Rashi. Also, when it comes to cheese, it says mipnei shemichalikin, because the issue with cheese is it may be smeared with lard, and therefore you have to be careful as far as kashrus is concerned. V'simanech masnisa with an olive, malchasa. So one way to remember it is that this siman is that the masnisin are malchasa with an olive. So my benayu, ikabenayu shvachos. The question is shvachos, that case in Ksuvas, was that said by Rav Malchia or Rav Malchioi? So that's the whole dispute. Rabbi Barbaya kapit afilu a rivda de kusliyasa. He used to be particular and careful, says Rashi, even with regard to a makkah of a kli shemaka boy plima. Rav Ashi Omer kol makom sheish shemaka makasu mechiyachal. The truth is that if there's a makkah, it's clear that why you're doing this is not because you're trying to violate ksuvas kaka. It's clear by the fact that you're doing this that you have proper intentions. So that is the explanation of this piece of the Mishnah. So let's continue now with the next sugya, with the next Mishnah. Says the Masisa, Nazir shoysa yain kol yoyim. And we had this before. You have a Nazir who's drinking all day and he's not allowed to drink. He's only chayiv once, even though he drank hundreds of cups. If he was only given hasra once, so it's behelam echad, he's only chayiv once. If he keeps getting warned each time, similarly, which is also another one of the three things he can't do. He's becoming tummy all day. If again he gets separate hasros, he gets chayv for each one. And then finally, he keeps getting haircuts until I guess he still has hair. So that's when it comes to all the dinim of a nazir. Let's say a person is wearing a forbidden mixture in the marketplace. Rashi says, Echem and a shuk v'lo nazir. We're not talking about a nazir, just stam a person. Kol hayoyim enu chayv elachas. Armul al tilbash al tibash. She keeps being warned, don't wear this, don't wear this. Who poishid v'loivesh. So it has to be he takes it off and puts it back on. It can't be, because otherwise he's not doing anything. Therefore he'll be chayv el kalach z'yachas. So we continue to chaf alpha mid base. And then it says, yesh chayrish telam echad. It's possible a person can be plowing one furrow. And you can actually be chayiv 8 different times, 8 things. How is that shaykh? So the Mishnah explains. How is that possible? So the Mishnah explains like this: Hachayrish b'shor v'chamor, plowing with an ox and a donkey. You're not allowed to as a lav. You can't plow with both of them together. The hein mukdoshim, and they are sanctified, and therefore. Rashi says talking about a bechor shor or a peter chamor, and there's an isser of l'sabed b'vchor shorecha that you're not allowed to work with these things. V'kilayim, v'kerem. Let's say it's forbidden mixtures of in the vineyard. You have wheat and barley and grape seeds and b'shvius. It's also the Shemitah year of Yom Tov, which of course you're not to do malach and Yom Tov. V'kayin, v'nazir b'beis hatoma. So he's a kohen and a nazir, and he's in a tummy place. So these are all issues. Chananya ben Chachinoy said, well, if we're giving all these punishments, so let's come up with another one. Maybe he's wearing shatnez while he's doing this. So that has nothing to do with plowing. So to the nazir who becomes tummy has nothing to do with plowing. Okay. If let's say he doesn't physically take off his entire shirt, but he just moves his sleeve, like he takes off like one of his arms. So they demonstrated physically taking it on and taking it off. Rav Ashi Amar Afil Lo Shah Ella Kidei Lishayit V'Liv L'Shchayev, which is an unbelievable vart, that even if all you did was you delayed the amount of time that you could have taken the shirt off and put it back on, even though it's a lav shein bo maisa. So the Ritva again asked on this that it's a lav shein bo maisa, so in like in a love. So he said since the original wearing, unbelievable chiddush of the Ritva, that since the original wearing was a maisa, so you get malchus for all the other ones as well. I in the Ritva. Yesh charish telem. So again, you can be chayiv 8 times. B'chul. So Omer Rav Yana b'chabura nimnu v'gamru. They figure this out among their group. A chayiv b'kilayim. If a person covers up kilayim, let's just get to the right Rashi over here. Like it. So you're going to get malchus of that. Armulahen Rabbi Yochanan Alav Mishnah Seinu Hizu. Understand, there's a Mishnah that already says that. Yesh Charish Telem Echad V'Chayv Alav Misham Shemayin Alav, and you can be chayv 8 times. The Charish B'Shav V'Chamor Ve'im V'Doshin, and it says V'Kalai V'Karen. So by plowing, it says you're chayv for Kalai V'Karen. So Hai HaChayrish the Machayim Mishim Kalayim Heichem Shkachasla. What is the case in our Mishnah that you're chayv for plowing? Lav, is it not? The mechasi behed the ozil, that you're covering up these things as you're going. Or malay ilav the dali lachasma mimishkachas marganisa tuta. So see, you're right. That is the correct answer. But if I didn't demonstrate and show you this beautiful jewel, you would never have found it by me. If I didn't lift up the earthenware vessel, you would never have found this jewel underneath it. Amalei Reish Lakish Rav Yochanan. Ilav the kilsach gavaraba. It wasn't for the fact that you were praised by this great person. Havamina would have said masisa Rabbi Kiva kilayim loika. I would say it's just even if you're Makayim, if all you do is just let it remain, not that you actually physically do anything, but according to the Shita of Rabbi Kiva, if someone's a Makayim kilayim, you also get malchus. So my Rabbi Kiva, where is this? This Tanya. It says as follows. So, according to this shita, you actually have to do something. You take out the weeds or something along those lines, and you get malchus. Even if all you're doing is letting it remain. So, my time, Rabbi Kiva, the Sanya. The pasuk says, "Sadachalo tizra kilayim." You're not allowed to actually physically plant in it. So, Ainli el lazera. That's clear if you're doing an action of planting. So, Mekayim, how no? Even if you're just letting it remain, that you still get malchus. Talmud Leimer. There's different gearses over here. I'll just read the parentheses. So the fact that there's this extra pasuk, let's just read it this way. So therefore, it's coming to tell you that you are going to be chayiv also for just mekayim, because we already have a pasuk to tell us the din of if a person actually does a ma'isa, but even if you just leave it. So the truth is, we would have maybe have thought that our Mishnah holds of Rabbi Kiva. Armulei ulu Rav Nachman v'loki nami mishum zorei b'yamtiv. Why don't we say, okay, you were plowing, but you're also planting on Yom Tov. So why isn't that also? So Armulei Tana Mashayr. You're right. That also could have been on the list. So Armulei Tana Katani Shmoina. The Tana mentions a specific number, 8. Yad Amrit Tana Mashayr. So Amarava Yesh Chiluk Malachos b'Shabbos V'en Chiluk Malachos b'Yom Tov. So Amalei Adah Tehei. So it shall be. Okay. So, and we're actually gonna stop with that line. But basically, there is a chiluk that when it comes to doing malacha on Shabbos, yesh chiluk malachos. What does that mean? So this is a Yisayistic avort. So look in Rashi, it's kedai to see. Let's say on Yom Tov, right? It says v'ein chiluk malachos b'Yom Tov. Im asa shtayim v'shalosh malachos b'hel mechad. If you do 2 or 3 of the malachos on Yom Tov b'hel mechad, or asa malacha sheish bo shtayim inu chayv achas. You're only going to be chayiv on for 1. Now that's the din. And Rashi says l'man yomer havaru l'chalik yatzis, that the reason why it says usavaru is to mechalik from one malacha to the other. Svirle in chiluk malachos b'Yom Tov. That it's only when it comes to Shabbos you can say you can be chayiv al kolachas v'achas. The b'Yom Tov lo yatzis havara. So stopping basically there. So the reason why, basically, our Mishnah is talking about a case of Yom Tov. And on Yom Tov, we say the din of Ein Chiluk Malachos B'Yom Tov, and therefore there's no reason to mention not only should you be chayav for plowing, but also for planting, because you wouldn't be chayav an extra lav for that on Yom Tov. It's true, on Shabbos you would, but not on Yom Tov. Okay, let's see a couple of questions. Question 3, we actually, let's see, question 1, 2, we already did last time. Question 3, Hamavashal Gid Hanashim, that's what we're going to see in tomorrow's daf, okay, which is really a continuation, but we're going to again stop there. Question TA22, Yesh Charish Tel Mechad V'chayiv Shmoin Alavin, Madu Eno Chayiv Gam Mishum Alav De Zorea B'Yom Tov. So that we just said, which is a very important side, and the answer is TA22, because Yesh Chiluk Malachos B'Shabbos. However, the answer is the Ein Chiluk Malachos L'Yom Tov, and therefore that's why we don't mention it. Adkan.